Hi everyone, Bill Duvendack here with the monthly astrological preview video for August 2024. So, grab your cuppa and let's chat about what's coming up because there's really one phrase to define August 2024, and that phrase is Mercury retrograde. You got it. Another one's coming up. It starts off in Virgo, backs into Leo, and it starts pretty early in the month and it gets done at the very end. So, in a very polite gesture, the stars are saying this is all going to be contained into 1 month. Now, you may have already been feeling it, and you might feel it a few days afterwards, the first couple of days in September, but otherwise, everything takes place just in August. So make sure you bookmark this and come back when you need it. Before it begins, though, on August 1st, the Sun in Leo is sextiling Mars in Gemini until the 8th, so you have about a week. The Sun in Leo is all about creativity and optimism and strong willpower and good fortune, and Mars in Gemini is saying, now's the time to make the contacts. Now's the time to talk to people to bring your creative vision into reality. Now, the moon in Cancer on that day is sextiling Mercury in Virgo. So, yes, it's a good day to talk to people to advance your creative goals, but it's also a good day to focus on the home and talking to loved ones and close friends. It's also a good day for workplace activities such as water cooler talk, or as the kids say these days, spilling the tea with others. Now that Mars in Gemini is also sextiling the North Node of the Moon retrograde in Aries, so you may find that the more you talk to people, not only are you bringing your creative vision into reality, you are also creating a lot of spiritual progress. However, that moon in Cancer is also squaring, or I should say is squaring, the North Node of the Moon retrograde in Aries. So while you may be focused on the workplace, if you get too absorbed in your work, you might miss spiritual growth opportunities. Venus in Leo on that day is squaring Uranus in Taurus. So watch out for the unexpected when it comes to romance or spending very freely. It could lead to unexpected consequences, and those consequences today might not necessarily be that good. Venus in Leo is also trining Chiron retrograde in Aries, so it is a good time to look at the romantic relationships you have in your life and see how they can help you heal. It's also a good day to see creativity as cathartic and how it can help heal your psychological and spiritual wounds. On the 2nd, the Sun in Leo is sextiling Jupiter, which is conjunct Mars in Gemini now. So, yes, Mercury retrograde is a major theme for August 2024, but another aspect that is going to be in play for the entirety of the month is Jupiter conjunct Mars in Gemini. So there's going to be this impulse of wanting to connect with people, and the stars say, do it carefully, but if you do it right, you may find that the people you know can help you unlock doors of prosperity or expand your consciousness, or both. Also on the 2nd, the Sun in Leo is trining the North Node of the Moon retrograde in Aries. So it's a good time to exert your willpower for the sake of manifesting your spiritual vision. The moon in Cancer is trining Neptune retrograde in Pisces, so it's a good day to listen to your intuition, to break bad habits that have to do with how you handle emotions and bad spiritual habits. It's also a good day for initiation for those of you that may walk to the beat of that drummer. The moon in Cancer is squaring Chiron retrograde in Aries, though. So, yes, it's a good day for initiation. Yes, it's a good day for spiritual healing and emotional healing. It's not such a good day to focus on your mental wounds. The moon in Cancer on that day is also sextiling Uranus and Taurus, telling us that the unexpected that comes up in daily life may give you opportunities to fine-tune your intuition. You might also find that unexpected things happen with your immediate family and close loved ones. And on the 3rd, the party kicks off. Mercury stations retrograde in Virgo, and it will be retrograde until the 29th, and it backs into Leo on the 14th. So basically, without getting too deep into it, this Mercury retrograde is going to start off challenging if you're a mutable sign. So Virgo, Gemini, Sagittarius, and Pisces. Once it backs into Leo, it becomes challenging for the fixed signs: Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. If you have a lot of focus in a sign I did not mention, this retrograde might be a non-event. For Capricorns and Tauruses, it's a good opportunity to clean things up for a solid foundation. And for Aries and Sagittarians, it is going to be a good time to wrap up details before moving on with the next leg of your spiritual journey. The moon in Leo is opposing Pluto retrograde in Aquarius on the 3rd, so watch those emotions. Watch that temper. Be careful you do not become accident prone if you are rushing through things. And on the 3rd, we have a Leo stellium consisting of Venus, the Sun, and the Moon. In short, the 3rd is going to be excessive when it comes to Leo energy. And while that's good overall because of optimism, creativity, romance, a lot of those kind of things, it may be too much of a good thing, so you might succumb to pride or arrogance if you're not careful. Now, this is also happening on the dark of the moon because on the 4th, there's a new moon in Leo. So yes, Mercury is retrograding at the time of the new moon, which means that a lot of the problems Mercury retrograde brings up might have a darker tinge to them. Or perhaps they trigger darker emotions, or perhaps they're darker events that you have to deal with. The key here, though, with the new moon in Leo is that a lot of it's going to have to do with pride, arrogance, authority, leadership, conflict with leadership. I want to take a few moments to dwell on this because there is a particular sickness that is running through the mass consciousness of people today, and that is the affliction of people thinking that all opinions are valid, because they're not. Everyone's entitled to opinions, but you know whose opinions matter most? The professionals and authorities on the subject, because they do it more than you or more than me. That's going to be a major theme for August. That is knowing your place and knowing your role. Unless you have training and experience in a particular field, yes, you do have an opinion, but it's not necessarily an educated one, which means more often than not, it's not right. As much as I tell you that, I remind myself of that all the time because I don't want to be one of those people who talks out of my ass and looks like a fucking idiot. I want the same for you. Don't talk out of your ass. Don't look like a fucking idiot. Also on the 4th, just because that's not enough tension, Venus moves into Virgo. So, it's a good time to clean. It's a good time for a physical health check-in, whether it's your diet or perhaps exercise routine. And that new moon in Leo is sextiling the Jupiter-Mars conjunction in Gemini, meaning it's a good time to reassess your social circles. It's a good time to reassess your networking strategies. It's a good time to reassess your creativity. You may have the most creative idea on the planet, but if you're not talking to the right people and you're not rolling it out, it's not going to get anywhere, so it's ultimately irrelevant to everyone other than you and your close friends and family. Just saying. Now, this also means be careful with spending on the 4th. Venus corresponds to money. So if you spend frivolously, you might think that by spending, you bring your bank account down to $5, and then you check it, and it's overdrawn because you forgot a purchase that didn't clear a few days before. That's the kind of thing you want to watch out for. You also want to be careful with your romantic life, because on the 4th, you may find that there's issues there, but the issues have to do with clear, concise communication. On the 5th, Venus conjuncts Mercury in Virgo, so it's a good time to revisit financial situations in the workplace. It's also a good time to circle back to loved ones, conversations you might have been putting off. This is a good day to deal with them. Also on the 5th, the moon in Leo is squaring Uranus in Taurus. So watch out in your daily activity. The unexpected may come up, and if you're not careful, it's going to be bad, especially if you let overconfidence blind you. The moon in Leo, however, is also trining Chiron retrograde in Aries, so it's a good day to go within and figure out your spiritual and psychological healing. Now on the 6th, we've got a Virgo stellium consisting of Venus, Mercury retrograde, and the moon. So for those of you that like Virgo energy, the 6th is your day. It's all about cleaning. It's all about analyzing. It's all about organizing. It's all about the kitchen. It's all about daily work routines. It's all about health. It's all about being of service to others. Just be careful that if you are going to sacrifice for the greater good, you don't give all of you away. It's always wise to keep some back from you, for you, and all of that activity between Venus, Mercury retrograde, and the moon in Virgo, that's all conjunct. So really watch your emotions. Really pay attention to your finances. Reassess your work life and see if it's still conducive to your growth. On the 7th, the moon in Virgo is trining Uranus in Taurus. So unexpected events that come up may give you a foundation to build from later on with regards to money, health, the career, the occupation. And the moon in Virgo on the 7th is opposing Neptune retrograde in Pisces, which is basically telling us if you hit a stumbling block with changing bad habits, if you hit a stumbling block with regards to wanting to fix something spiritually and you just can't figure out how to do it, today is a good day to bury yourself in the work and kind of put that off to deal with later. Now on the 8th, the moon in Libra is opposing the North Node retrograde in Aries, so indecisiveness might rule the day when it comes to figuring out where you want to go, spiritually speaking, or perhaps you play the role of the diplomat to your own spiritual detriment, and that also would be bad. But also on the 8th, that same moon in Libra is trining Pluto retrograde in Aquarius, telling us that's a good day to change how you approach your relationships with circles of friends, humanitarian causes, and maybe even your role in nonprofit organizations. On the 9th, the moon in Leo is trining that Jupiter-Mars conjunction in Gemini. So even though Mercury's retrograde, it is a good day to connect with people. It's also a good day to brainstorm. It's a good day to reassess your techniques and reassess your procedures for how you go about accomplishing what you want to accomplish. The moon in Libra is also opposing Chiron retrograde in Aries. So be careful here. And I point that out because the energy that this aspect brings is that of balance and harmony and synthesis, but not to the detriment of your own healing. The 10th is nice and quiet, so take a deep breath on the 10th. Chill, watch the grass grow, do a whole bunch of nothing, because it's the center of the eye of the storm. Now on the 11th, that moon in Scorpio is sextiling Venus in Virgo, so it's a good day to focus on business. It's a good day to focus on your daily work habits. It's a good day to focus on health, specifically gut health for those of you that pay attention to the details. On the 12th, that sun in Leo is squaring the moon in Scorpio, so you might find that your will is at odds with your emotions. You might find that you are torn between optimism and pessimism. You might also find with the Mercury retrograde that the 12th is a good day to say, I need to make a lot of minor adjustments. I don't know where to start. And I point that last part out because on the 12th, 13th, and 14th, it will be clear to you where you should start. Also on the 12th, the moon in Scorpio is trining Neptune retrograde in Pisces. Now we circle back to breaking bad habits, bad spiritual habits, bad habits having to do with how you handle your emotions. And in a lot of ways, this aspect is all about digging in your heels and pushing forward in the name of health. Now that moon in Scorpio is also opposing Uranus in Taurus. So while you're focused and while you're pushing ahead, it may cause the unexpected to come up in daily life. And that unexpected may be challenging because there is a fixed sign T-square happening between the sun. On the 16th, Venus in Virgo is squaring Mars conjunct Jupiter in Gemini. This will be happening for about 8 days until the 24th. Whenever you have Venus square Mars conjunct Jupiter, it tells us there may be issues with regards to romance. There may be issues with regards to health, specifically breathing and gut function. On one hand, you might be wanting to gab with a lot of people, but that will take away from the money you can earn in your daily work. So walk a tightrope on the 16th. Now, also on the 16th, the moon in Capricorn is trine Venus in Virgo. So it's all about focusing on the work. So in essence, on the 16th, you see the theme of the day is that you might feel compelled to chat with people, and it'll work against you, professionally speaking, and with regards with your ability to manifest on the physical plane. On the 16th, we've also got the moon in Capricorn sextiling Saturn retrograde in Pisces. So it's a good day to take charge of where you're going spiritually and change the things you know you need to change. It's also a good day to say, I'm going to rewrite the vision and goals that I have in my life. And now I'm going to take charge because of new information and new experiences have shaped me to go a different direction. On the 17th, the sun in Leo is conjunct Mercury retrograde now in Leo. So what we find here is if you're a Leo or a baby boomer, this is going to hit you pretty damn hard. It's going to be a total life reassessment in light of new information. If you are not one of the people that have a high concentration of Leo energy, for Scorpios, Aquarians, and Tauruses, it may be particularly challenging overall, but specifically with regards to romance and your creativity. Watch out for gambling on this day. It could work against you. That Sun-Mercury retrograde conjunction in Leo is also trining Chiron retrograde in Aries, so it's a good day to heal your willpower. It's a good day to say, okay, maybe I shouldn't be so headstrong. Maybe I should try some humility to fix my problems. And that same conjunction is also squaring Uranus and Taurus. So if you get too self-absorbed answering all of these questions, it may cause problems to come up in your daily life that create obstacles and barriers to work through. That same moon in Capricorn is conjunct Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. Perhaps it's a good day to step in your own authority with regards to groups. Maybe it's a good day to say, okay, this authoritarian system that I'm working within is broken, but in order to fix it, all we need to do is transform it. We don't need to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Venus in Virgo on that day is opposing Saturn retrograde in Pisces, and that will be going on for about 7 days until the 24th. And if you'll notice, that's a couple references to the 24th, which foreshadows the fact that the 24th is going to be pretty profound. Specifically on the 17th, with Venus opposing Saturn retrograde, it's telling us here again, this is another day to focus on work. This is another day to put the spiritual and the emotional off to the side and just get done what you need to get done, because the money is waiting for you, as is the love. On the 18th, the moon in Aquarius is trining the Mars-Jupiter conjunction in Gemini, meaning, yes, it's a good day to talk to people. So the hard work I've mentioned for the last few days, this is the day you put it aside. Now that moon in Aquarius is also sextiling the North Node retrograde in Aries, meaning that the more you embrace new ideas, the more you embrace evolution, the more you embrace revolution, the more you are creating spiritual growth. And when I say revolution here, I'm talking about internal revolution, not necessarily external. On the 19th, we've got the full moon. It is happening between the moon in Aquarius and the sun, which is conjunct Mercury retrograde in Leo. You might feel particularly torn on that day between focusing on fixing you versus helping others. You might have a lot of powerful emotions from that moon in Aquarius that are diluting your ability to focus on what you need to do for you. That moon in Aquarius is also squaring Uranus in Taurus. So if your emotions get too strong, it could cause unexpected problems in daily life. The moon in Aquarius is sextiling Chiron retrograde in Aries, telling us, yes, embrace those strong emotions, do what you need to do for you, and you might find some unexpected healing there. On the 20th, the moon is conjunct Saturn retrograde in Pisces. Your psychic skills will be sharper than normal if you implement new ways to hone it. You might also find that you feel emotionally or spiritually restricted, but this will pass within a couple of days. That same conjunction is squaring the Mars-Jupiter conjunction in Gemini, which tells us your friends and chit-chatty behavior may work against your spiritual and emotional growth. Venus in Virgo on that day is opposing that Moon-Saturn retrograde conjunction. So you can tell with all the emphasis on water during this day, it's going to weight itself towards the emotional and the spiritual, and that might cost you money. It probably won't cost you prosperity, but it'll cost you cash in hand and money in your pocket. On the 21st, we've got the moon conjunct Neptune retrograde in Pisces. And it's all about emotions. It's all about fixing your shit. Now that activity, that conjunction, is also sextiling Uranus in Taurus. So the unexpected that comes up during the day might be a message for you from spirit. Or the unexpected carries you in a direction that you could not foresee, and it ends up being a good direction. With the 22nd, the sun moves into Virgo, and the moon on that day is conjunct the North Node retrograde in Aries, telling us that the emphasis now turns to work almost specifically even though emotionally you might want instant gratification, ain't gonna happen. And if it does happen, it's gonna be short-lived and it's gonna leave you feeling like you didn't get enough, which is almost always a bad feeling. Also on the 22nd, the Mercury retrograde in Leo is sextiling the Mars part of the Mars-Jupiter conjunction in Gemini. So yes, focus on work, but not necessarily the paperwork. Now's when you reach out and talk to people at the workplace like I talked about earlier in the month. On the 23rd, the moon is conjunct Chiron retrograde in Aries, so it's a good opportunity to figure out how to heal your impulsiveness. It's a good opportunity to figure out how to heal psychological wounds. It's also a good day to reassess your motivations for why you want things and why you want them now rather than practicing deferred gratification. That same conjunction is trining the Mercury retrograde in Leo, so you might find that in order to answer those questions, you have to revisit topics and subjects that you've been putting off. We can now come to the 24th, the vaulted day that I've talked about a couple of times on previous days, specifically the 16th and the 17th, and just a few minutes ago with May the 24th be with you. The moon is in Taurus and it's trining the sun in Virgo. Get to work. It's that simple. Specifically focus on reviewing your finances, but get to work. And I don't mean psychological work. I mean picking up tools and getting hard work done, like scrubbing floors, building things, anything that you need to do that requires getting your hands dirty. That moon in Taurus is sextiling Saturn retrograde in Pisces. So the more that you get busy with the physical work, the more you are healing spiritual and emotional wounds. Also on the 24th, Venus in Virgo is trining Uranus in Taurus, which is going to happen until the 28th. So through that physical labor, unexpected situations will come up, but in the long run, they're going to be good. They just suck for the short term. On the 25th, that moon in Taurus is conjunct Uranus in Taurus. Be careful what you eat. Be careful where you spend your money. Expect to have your personal values challenged on that day, and when they are, don't let your emotions cloud common sense and logic. Also on the 25th, that same conjunction is sextiling Neptune retrograde in Pisces, which continues the theme that the unexpected happenings of daily life might actually be working in your favor, emotionally and spiritually speaking. Venus in Virgo on that day is opposing Neptune retrograde in Pisces. So yes, focus on the hard work, everything that I just got done saying, even if you have to put changes to your spiritual path on the back burner. This is a lesson that a lot of people should think about. Sometimes you need to put your spiritual growth aside in order to focus on the physical responsibilities and duties of having a manifested life. On the 26th, that moon in Virgo is squaring, or that sun in Virgo is squaring the moon in Gemini. So your emotions will probably be conflicted with your overall sense of being and direction in life. Specifically, you might want to explore variety, and the sun in Virgo comes along and says, don't you dare. It'll cost you money and it'll cost you health. Now that moon in Gemini is also sextiling the North Node retrograde in Aries. So yes, it may cost you, spiritually speaking, to focus on work, but that's exactly what you need to do. Now, for the opposing view, another way to look at this day is you can put off the hard work and the daily workplace stuff like I'm talking about, and it'll be great for mental masturbation, it'll be great for brainstorming, it'll be great for networking, but then when it comes time to do the work on the back end, you might not feel motivated. You might have lost that momentum. On the 27th, the moon is conjunct Mars, which is also conjunct Jupiter in Gemini. And all of that is squaring Venus in Virgo, and all of that is sextiling Chiron retrograde in Aries. So in short, on the 27th, focus on your intellect, focus on talking to other people, go ahead and enjoy variety, but don't expect anything to come from it. It's just going to be a 24-hour distraction. On the 28th, we have Mercury in Leo stationing direct, heralding the end of the Mercury retrograde. We also have the Moon in Cancer, sextiling the Sun in Virgo. Those two aspects right there on the 28th, the lesson is simple. Stay home, work in the kitchen, hang out with your close family and close friends, because with that Mercury stationing, there's probably going to be a lot of jerks out there. So it's better to just avoid them if you can. Now that same Moon in Cancer is squaring the North Node retrograde in Aries. So while you're doing that, don't expect spiritual growth. This is a Cvlt kind of day. And that Moon in Cancer is squaring Neptune retrograde in Pisces. So don't focus on the deep and the metaphysical and the spiritual. Focus on caving it. This is the day of the Hermit. Just saying. On the 29th, we've got Venus moving into Libra, which means it is trining Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. So we continue the theme of focusing on the mental plane and the mind. We continue the theme of focusing on friends and social circles. The Moon in Cancer is also trining Saturn retrograde in Pisces. So you might find that your friends and spending time with them and brainstorming them is actually doing you some good when it comes to emotionally and spiritually changing habits and healing. On the 30th, the Moon in Cancer is opposing Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. So be careful. Your intuition might put you at odds with society. The Moon in Cancer is trining Neptune retrograde in Pisces, so it's good for initiation and changes. The Moon in Cancer is sextiling Uranus and Taurus, so unexpected daily stuff will be good. And on the 31st, Mercury in Leo is trining Chiron retrograde in Aries. So the month ends with a focus on renewed willpower and changing things up. The Moon is conjunct Mercury, so communicate those emotions. Spread your creativity. And Uranus stations retrograde in Taurus, and it'll be there for many months. I know this is a shorter video, but you can see that it's direct, and the theme is review, find the balance between work and friends, and in short, harmonize. Stay humble, carpe diem, carpe noctem, and if you need a kick in the pants, check out the Lion's Gate on August 8th. It hasn't happened in 9 years, and it won't happen for another 9. For more information on that, check out a number of places online that treat this like the special occasion it is. But long story short, it's all about reaching deeper levels of meditation and consciousness in order to manifest your willpower and creative goals in life. As always, daily, monthly horoscopes are up all over the place. Thank you to Adam Knox and the Cult of You for doing this. And until we chat again, may we all receive blessings, good health, prosperity, and success as we manifest the next month of our lives. Salud.